Can you guys hear me? Type a 1 in the chat when you can hear the sound of my voice. Cool. Alright. Looks like I did not accidentally mute the audio. That's good. Sorry about the short notice. Again, YouTube will not allow me to schedule the live streams in advance. I don't know why. I still can't figure out why. It's an ongoing process. We'll figure it out at some point. Also, sorry about the lateness of this live stream. I wanted to do it earlier, but the combination of my schedule being weird and my body clock being all kinds of messed up wouldn't allow for that either. For the record, I was up until about 8 a.m. this morning, and then I slept until about 4 p.m. this afternoon. That's what my body clock is like right now. Because, you know, when you're up all night making videos, I don't know when day or night is anymore. My body clock isn't governed by that stuff anymore. Now I sleep whenever I get tired. Which, you know, sometimes won't be until, I don't know, 9 p.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m. After I was up all night. It's really weird. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about Moon Knight Episode 1 today. We're going to wait just another minute or two, wait for some people to find the stream, and I forgot to put a notice that we were starting on YouTube, on Twitter, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. 1 second. Because I am so organized and so on top of things, I didn't get around to taking notes about the episode until just a few hours ago. Yeah, I haven't done a live stream in a while, so it's possible I'm a little bit rusty at this. Right. Live stream. And there we go. Okay. And you should be on Friday Night Tights. Yeah, well, as of right now, the invitation is not on the table, so not much I can do. It's in there. That's up to them, not me. All right, if this is your first time here, the way we do this is I will give my thoughts on the episode, I'll go through everything, and then we'll do super chats and comments at the end. So if you have anything in there, you know, get it in now, and I'll try to get to everything once I say my piece on this stuff. So, all right. Don't want to keep you guys waiting for too long. Also, I'm not sure how long my voice is going to hold out. So, why don't we just get started here? Gonna move this over here so I can see the comments. Got my notes, my completely unorganized notes right there. All right. For the record, I don't know if we'll continue doing these on Tuesdays. I'd like to have some kind of set schedule, but it might just be whenever I get around to it. Yeah, we'll see. Alright, anyway. Episode 1 of Moon Knight. It begins with Ethan Hawke's character, and we don't actually see his face, but you can tell who it is. And he's doing some kind of weird stuff. He displays his arms, and he's got this weird tattoo of an old-timey scale on one of his forearms. And he sets out this cloth on a table, and there's a glass in there. He wraps the glass up in the cloth, smashes the glass with his cane. So there's all these little pieces of broken glass in there now, and he pours the broken glass into his shoes. And he puts the shoes on. And then he walks out into this weird-looking temple sort of thing. And I'm not sure what's going on here. I think it's probably like those religious guys who, like, lash themselves to, like, purge themselves of sin or something. I don't know how that works, but, yeah, I think it's like some kind of like a self-flagellation type of thing. They don't explain it in this episode, but very creepy introduction. So we go to Stephen Grant, not Mark Spector, but the Stephen Grant persona, because Moon Knight is a character who suffers from a dissociative identity disorder. So we're always going to be, I guess we're going to be alternating between one personality and the other. Right now it's just the two. There's Stephen Grant and Mark Spector. So Stephen Grant is the one we spend most of our time with this week. He wakes up, and he's got this dingy, crummy apartment. It looks like it's in an attic or something. It's an apartment building, but I don't know. It looks like an attic. He wakes up. His leg is tied to like a pipe on the wall or something, and there's sand all around the bed. So which I didn't really get what was going on there at first, but apparently he's got some kind of sleeping disorder, or he thinks he has some kind of sleeping disorder, and the sand is so he'll know if he got up in the middle of the night, if he started sleepwalking or something. I think, oh, that's smart. That's clever. And he also has like tape on the door to see if which will tell him if he left, if he sleepwalked out the door and left somewhere. These things are really clever. I like these. So he goes about his morning. He talks to his only companion in there, which is a one-finned goldfish. Talks to his mom on the phone, but she's not actually there, so he's leaving a message. It's unclear if he actually has a mother. We'll see. And so he goes to work, kind of gets pushed around by everyone he encounters. Some guy on the street. The security dude at the museum where he works doesn't remember his name. His boss treats him like shit. He talks to this little girl at the Egyptian exhibit. He talks to her. He tries to tell her some stuff he thinks is really cool about the ancient Egyptians and how they were mummified, and how the worthiest of them would like pass through the field of reeds in the underworld. And she gives him shit too. It's like, did it suck for you not going through the field of reeds? So he gets no respect from anybody. So his boss kind of storms up to him, gives him the business about trying to be the tour guide when he works at the gift shop. And so his life just plain sucks. Except for one girl, this pretty girl who comes up to him. She also works there, I guess, and asks him if they're still on for 7 o'clock tomorrow. So they made a date. The only thing is, he can't remember it. He remembers nothing about making the date. And then the boss dresses him down about this too. So, yeah, he's not having a good time. The one good thing that happens to him, he can't remember how it happened. Later, they're doing like inventory stuff in the back. And Steven informs the boss that the posters outside of the Ennead exhibit are incorrect. The Ennead are apparently some kind of super group of Egyptian gods. And he says that it only shows 7 of the gods, but it's supposed to have 9. So somebody screwed up. And she doesn't care. It's like, look, stay in your lane, Steven. You're Stevie. She calls him Stevie. Stay in your lane, dude. You're just here to run the gift shop. And then she gives him shit about constantly being late for work. So he's just getting nothing. And so later on, he's eating dinner by a fountain, and he's talking to a statue that's there about the sleeping disorder that he suffers from. Sometimes he'll just wake up somewhere, have no idea where he is. So it's really causing a lot of problems for him. It makes it really difficult to have relationships, stuff like that. It screws him up at work. And so basically he's trying to stay awake at night so he won't go to sleep and then sleepwalk somewhere and all that stuff. So he's getting ready for bed. Puts the tape on the door, puts new sand around the bed, ties his leg to the wall, and then he listens to some kind of recording about how to keep your mind awake. And it involves just trying to keep your brain active, solving puzzles like a Rubik's Cube, reading books. So we show him fiddling with the cube. He's reading about ancient Egyptian stuff. There's an article about, he's reading about the Ennead and the rift between God and man. We got a super chat in there. Thank you very much, Bear Business One. I'll get to all that once I talk about the episode. But thank you very much. So the rift between God and man, that was pretty interesting. And then eventually he kind of nods off, and then he wakes up, and it's daytime, and he's in a field. He's not in London anymore. That's where he lives, in London. And I don't know where he is. It's in some kind of, I don't know. It's in a field, and there's a castle behind him, and there's a village down the hill, and there's a strange voice inside his head. It's this weird disembodied voice telling him, go back to sleep. You're not supposed to be here. The idiot's in control. Surrender the body to Mark. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. Doesn't know where he is. Doesn't know where the voice is coming from. He finds this weird golden scarab thing in his pocket. Doesn't know how that got there. And we see this white CG'd figure behind him for a split second. He turns around. It's gone. And then he sees people in this castle thing behind him. And there's people on the second floor looking out the window, just kind of surveying him and just watching him. And he's like, hi, do you know where I am? Then they pull out guns and start shooting at him. All right, so they're chasing him. He's running away, runs down the hill to the village, tries to blend in with all the people in there. And there's this crowd of people all heading into the town square, gathering around Ethan Hawke's character, Arthur. And he's some kind of weird, kooky cult leader. I don't know what the deal is with him yet, but he's talking about how the weather's beautiful today. It's like heavenly, but we're not in heaven, are we? Because there's a darkness that hides in all our hearts, and we're here to try to make the earth as much like heaven as possible. Just really classic cult leader type stuff. So he asks for a volunteer, and this man steps forward, offering to serve our goddess before she wakes. Is what's happening here. I don't know what that means. So Arthur takes this man's hands, and he has this cane that he uses, and he puts the cane between the dude's arms, and the cane starts rocking back and forth like a pendulum, and he says he's going to judge this man in Amit's name. Amit's name. And we see the scale tattoo on his forearm. And it starts moving. It's going like up and down, back and forth, side to side. And the two scales ultimately balance. So this man is deemed worthy. And Arthur is like, this is the face of a good man. And he hugs this man. And everyone rejoices. And he asks for another volunteer. And this old lady comes up. And he does the same thing with her, except the scale doesn't balance this time. It's off balance, and it turns red. And she doesn't know how this happened. She's like, oh, I've been good my whole life. I don't know. How could this be? And he believes her that she's been good, but he thinks what made the scale off balance is something that could be what lies ahead, not anything she's done previously. And it's not clear what happens, but Amit has judged this woman, and her hands turn dark, and she just falls to the ground, presumably dead. And so one of the guys who was shooting at Stephen comes up to Arthur at this point, tells him there was a problem with the exchange, and someone killed two of their men. So Arthur gets really gravely serious. He starts yelling something in ancient Egyptian, and the crowd all fall to their knees. And Stephen takes a minute. He doesn't really know what's going on, where he is, or how to understand any of this. And Arthur quickly singles him out, because he recognizes him from somewhere. Identifies Stephen as a mercenary. Again, Stephen has no idea what that's about. I'm not a mercenary. I'm Stephen Grant. I work at a gift shop. kind of a stupid thing to say, to identify yourself like that, but he has no idea what's happening right now. So Arthur asks him to return the scarab. But again, the creepy disembodied voice in Stephen's head tells him to give this guy nothing. So Stephen keeps trying to hand over the scarab, but each time he does, it's like something is controlling his body, forcing him not to. Like he closes the fist around the scarab so he can't hand it over. It pulls his fist away so he can't point his hand at Arthur to give him the scarab. He turns his body trying to force himself to hand it over, but he can't do it. Each time he does, something is like manipulating his limbs. It forces him to walk away, and he doesn't know what the hell's going on. It's like he's not in control of his body anymore. Oscar Isaac is really good here. And so, finally, several townspeople just grab him, try to get the scarab out of his hands, and then Stephen blacks out for a second. And then he wakes up, and these people are all on the ground unconscious, and he's got blood all over his hands. He's like, what the hell? What just happened? He has no idea. But, these people are after him now, so he runs. The voice is telling him, don't you dare drop the scarab. So he commandeers a cupcake van. Like this big truck of pastries, of all things. Because it's time for a car chase. So we have to give him, like, the silliest vehicle imaginable for this. And credit to him, it's pretty funny. The song choice, like the music choice, is what makes this scene work. Because, again, it's like the most inappropriate song for a car chase you've ever heard. It's Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. So it's so insanely awkward, but that's what makes it entertaining, because Stephen has no idea what's going on, and the music is just heightening all of that. It's just making everything so incredibly awkward. And that's why it works. Because they kind of went like the opposite direction that Michael Bay would go in. That's why I appreciated it so much. So the bad guys jump in their cars and they're chasing after Stephen, who's driving a literal cupcake van, while Wake Me Up Before You Go Go is playing. So they're chasing him on this road along the side of a mountain, and he has to steer around a literal chicken truck. And the old lady driving the truck flips him off as he drives by. Like, he gets no respect from anybody. Oh, this poor bastard. So, a lot of things start happening all at once. Like, the first bad guy from the lead car jumps up on the van. He gets in the back. So Stephen starts throwing cupcakes at him because it's the only weapon he has. He starts smashing cupcakes into this guy's face, but he comes up on Mark. He's got a gun, and then the first car pulls up alongside the cupcake van, and they've got guns. They're pointing at him. He looks like he's screwed, but then he blacks out again. Then he wakes up a few seconds later, and suddenly the guy with the gun in the car is behind the van, crashing. And the guy in the van is suddenly sitting in the back of the van, dead, and Mark has the gun. Stephen has the gun. I keep saying Mark. I don't know why. So now the voice in his head is yelling at Mark to wake up, because, the idiot is going to get you guys killed. And Stephen has to swerve around a logger truck. The truck crashes. The logs roll out down the side of the mountain. The bad guys pull up on either side of Stephen, either side of the cupcake van. He blacks out again, wakes up, and one of the bad guys' cars is careening off the cliff while Stephen is now driving backwards. Like, the cupcake van is driving along the side of the mountain backwards. So the bad guys are out in front of them. He looks like he's screwed, so finally he just stops the truck because, he's likely to kill himself here. But then the logs roll down the side of the cliff and they crush the bad guys. I don't know how they beat the logs down there. That doesn't really make sense, but the sequence itself was so entertaining that I kind of forgave them for that. And then Stephen blacks out again, wakes up back in his apartment. He thinks it was all a dream. He laughs. He's relieved. Really entertaining sequence. Again, the logs thing didn't really make sense, but I can make allowances when everything else has been so good up to this point. So he starts going about his day, but he starts noticing weird things. Like the fish now, like his goldfish now has 2 fins when previously it had 1 fin. So he takes the fish to the pet shop. He asks the lady there if this is normal. How did this happen? My fish had one fin, now it has 2 fins. What's going on? But the lady says she talked to him about this yesterday. Stephen doesn't remember being there yesterday. He sees the time. Remembers he's got a date with the pretty girl from the museum. So he runs home to get ready. He goes to the restaurant. The girl never shows up. So he calls her, and she's all pissed off. Says she was there to meet him 2 days ago, but he stood her up. So just, piss off, Stephen. Yeah, you date-ditching asshole. So he thought it was Friday, but it's actually Sunday. So he's lost several days, doesn't know how it happened. So he calls his mom on the way home. Not clear if he's talking to a person or if he's leaving another message. But I'll get back to that a little bit later. Anyway, he tells her the date went really well when it was a total disaster. He comes home all depressed. He talks to the fish, because that's the only person he can talk to. He's quite sure this is not his goldfish, but in fact a different fish. But has no explanation for it. So he drops some stuff on the floor while he's feeding the fish. He notices scuff marks on the floor, where the table was moved. Which is odd. He has no accounting for this. So he moves the table, stands up on it, finds a secret compartment in the wall up top. And inside the compartment, he finds a key. Looks like a hotel key, I think, and an old school flip phone. Now, on this flip phone, there are a ton of missed calls from somebody named Layla. He doesn't know anybody named Layla. So Layla calls him again. He answers, "I've been calling you for months, Mark. What's going on? I didn't know if you were all right, if you were alive or dead. Where have you been? Why are you talking with that weird accent? What's wrong with you, Mark?" Stephen has, again, no idea what's happening. Why did you call me Mark? She just hangs up. And then Stephen starts hearing another voice. But this isn't the voice from before. It's the voice of Oscar Isaac. Because he really changes up his voices between the different personas. It's really good stuff. So Mark's voice starts whispering to him. It tells him that he needs to stop what he's doing because he's going to get himself in trouble. I think we're a little bit past that, but okay. He looks around, can't find the source of the voice. Finally, he checks in the bathroom. The lights are off. He can't really see anything, but he can see there's his darkened reflection in the mirror, and the reflection seems to shake its head at him. It's meant to be, really, very creepy, and it actually is. So well done on that. And this seems to trigger something, because the lights start flickering at that point. The reflection starts moving more and tells him to stop looking. He gets freaked out. He runs into the hallway, jumps in the elevator. It opens up on a different floor and a really dark hallway. All the lights are off, and at the very end of the hallway, there's this fucked up spectral image of something. It appears to be what we'll later learn to be Khonshu. It starts stalking toward him threateningly. And so he's cowering back in fear in the elevator, but suddenly it's just gone. And it's just, some old lady who lives in the building. So he tries to cover up for his weird behavior, lost a contact lens, ha ha ha. But it freaks her out, so she kind of runs out on a different floor. And then suddenly Khonshu is there again, and he screams, he blacks out again, and then wakes up, he's on the bus, and it's the next day, and he's on the bus going to work. And so he jumps out, he sees Khonshu on the side of the road, so whatever that thing is, it's getting closer. It's getting closer, it's closing in on him. So he jumps out of the bus at his stop, and then there's Arthur in the back of the bus watching him, which means he didn't dream all that stuff from before. So he goes to the museum, tries to get the security guy to not let in anybody suspicious. The guy still can't remember his name. So his boss comes up to him, gives him shit again. He gets flippant with her for the first time. And he sees Arthur in the museum. Not sure how Arthur's getting around so fast, but he is somehow. So he follows him, tries to figure out what he's up to, but Arthur sneaks up on him from behind. And Steven tries to get the security guard to help him out. Hey, this guy's following me. But the guard is like, praise Amit. So he's with Arthur. So Arthur has a lot of his followers here. And there's several other people around, and they're all with him as well. And Steven says he doesn't have the scarab. Doesn't know what the hell the deal is with the scarab. Arthur says the scarab is not his. It belongs to Amit, who it turns out is some kind of Egyptian deity who, I guess, doled out punishment to anyone that she deemed to be evildoers, I think. Why she gets to pass judgment on that, I don't know, but she's a god. That's what they do, apparently. So Steven tries to get away from him, but, all of Arthur's followers are in there, and they're not going to let him go anywhere. And they've all got the same scale tattoo on their arm that Arthur has. Arthur claims that had Amit been free, she would have prevented Hitler and Nero and the Armenian genocide and all these other horrible things. But she couldn't because she was betrayed by her fellow gods and her own avatar. So that's kind of what his deal is. I think he's either going to be like the new avatar of this Amit character, or I don't know, maybe he's just a follower. I guess he's going to be... It's kind of how these things work sometimes. Marvel likes to have most of their heroes fight like a dark reflection of themselves when they're starting out. That's happened in a bunch of these projects. So I assume he's going to become an avatar of Amit if he isn't already. So he says he's trying to help Steven. So... because, he kind of knows what's going on with Steven now. He can guess, or he has some kind of intuition about it. He knows, the voice in your head can be maddening, and it's impossible to please. It devours you until there's nothing left. And in Steven's case, that's true on 2 counts, because he's got Khonshu, and he also has Mark Spector in there. So he takes Steven's hands and judges him like he did those other 2 people. We don't see what the scale says because it pans away from it, but Arthur says there's chaos in Steven, so Steven runs away and Arthur lets him go. So for lack of any better ideas, Steven just goes to work. I guess he needs the overtime or something. And after hours, the lights start going off, and he starts hearing these strange noises, like a wolf howling, kind of. And he looks around, and there's some kind of creepy monster lurking in the background, like jumping out from behind things and something. He doesn't notice it yet, but it's there. It's kind of closing in on him. And Arthur's voice pops up over the PA system and tells him to give him the scarab, and he won't be torn apart by this thing. And so this CG demon dog jumps out and attacks. And Steven runs. It's chasing him. He keeps trying to throw stuff in front of it to slow it down. He's knocking over shelves and stuff as he tries to run away. Finally, he locks himself in a bathroom. And this scene is awesome. Steven is terrified by this demon dog creation thing that's trying to break down the door. And also, he thinks he's losing his mind at the same time. And there's so much that they do here with reflections and stuff, because there's mirrors on every wall. So you know how when there's mirrors to the right and left, and each one is reflecting the reflection, so it feels like there's a million reflections in each mirror? It's like that. And there's one behind him too. So he's surrounded by his own reflections, and they're all of himself, but suddenly there's also one of Mark Spector. So you see all the Stevens in the mirror, and then there's Mark there too. And the demon dog is trying to smash down the door, and Steven is just really frantic right now. He's freaking out, doesn't know what to do, and also there's Mark there trying to calm Steven down at the same time, and this all had to be timed out perfectly because Oscar Isaac is acting against himself here, and there's no cuts in this sequence. Not one. It's all one shot. And it's just Steven freaking out that he's about to die as he interacts with his own reflections, one of which is trying to get him to let Mark take over and get them out of this. I have no idea how they did this, but this sequence was freaking masterful. It actually reminded me a lot of the scene in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movie, the first one, where Norman Osborn is talking to his other personality in the mirror. Except it's like a supercharged version of that, with like a lot more mirrors and a lot more reflections, and like a lot more of them are doing stuff. And in that movie, I always thought that scene was like kind of like really campy and silly and over the top. But this one was like genuinely tense and disturbing. So, Steven is just freaking the hell out. Finally, Mark tells Steven to just, Steven, look at me. And then suddenly it all goes like eerily quiet. Steven looks at him, and suddenly all of Steven's reflections are gone, and it's just him and Mark in the mirror talking back to him. And Mark is like, you're not gonna die. Let me save us. Like, give me control. And then Steven finally seems to understand something in his head. So he relents. He surrenders to whatever is about to happen. And we see these CG bandages start to envelop him just a little bit. Just as the demon dog breaks down the door and attacks. And then we cut to outside the bathroom as the camera moves in, it pans in, and it's down at the floor, and we see like the water spilled all over the floor, and in the reflection of the water, we see this white-caped, hooded figure, dragging the demon dog around and just beating the shit out of it, and it pans up, and there's Moon Knight just smashing this monster to a pulp. He turns around, faces the camera, he's got these awesome, like, glowing eyes, and that's where it ends. I really, really liked this episode. First thing that stood out, this thing just flew by. Which is surprising since, a lot of it was just Steven getting crapped on and laying little breadcrumbs for him to follow later, but the pacing was excellent. Which surprises me, because it's like close to 45 minutes with no commercial breaks. This actually felt a lot shorter than it really was. Like, in a good way. Like, I watched the first episode of Halo, and that thing was like 50 some odd minutes. It felt like it was 2 hours. So, yeah, the pacing was much, much better in this one. And I don't know if everyone is going to agree with this being really cool, because this was definitely made for new fans who are coming in not knowing the character. Like, any Moon Knight fans who already know what his deal is, like, they might get a little impatient with it, possibly. But I think this has a good chance of appealing to both. It seems like they're taking elements from a lot of different incarnations of Moon Knight, because there are several to choose from. And this is kind of like a brand new version. Now, I don't know a ton about the character or DID for that matter, but I thought there were some clever things in there with how Steven deals with it. Like the sand around the bed. It took me a minute to figure out what that was about, but I like that because the writers aren't spoon-feeding you anything. They're trusting the audience to use their brains and figure it out, which is an increasingly rare thing in media like this these days. Yeah, and also, they're trusting the fans to figure out how this version is different from the comics, in case you're coming in already a fan. Now, I think in the comics, the Stephen Grant persona is a wealthy man, and that's how he bankrolls all of Moon Knight's gadgets and whatnot. Here, he works at a museum gift shop. So, think that is going to be a little less complicated, and they're going to draw some kind of dichotomy between, the badass mercenary Mark Spector and like the sort of meek, jittery, put upon loser of Stephen Grant. So it's I don't know, they might add more to it later, but I think this works for now. Also, Stephen appears to be the only other personality in Mark's head at the moment. But I imagine the Mr. Knight persona is going to appear at some point because he was on a bunch of the advertising. Now, I think in the comics, correct me if I'm wrong, I think there are like 2 or 3 different personas, so there's a bit of catching up to do. So there have been a few changes in here. And they take their time introducing us to them, but not too much time. That's what I appreciated about this. WandaVision had an interesting concept, but the story barely got moving until the 3rd episode. Like, before then, it was all set up. It was just all set up, and it got... I got a little bit impatient with it up until the 3rd episode when they started, explaining stuff. Here, we're well into it after about 20 minutes. So they're not waiting around. The mystery starts unfolding pretty quickly, and a lot of it is centered around Stephen not knowing what's going on because he keeps blacking out when Mark takes over. And that's the part I'm wondering about right now. It was a weird decision to focus on the Stephen Grant persona instead of Mark Spector, at least at first. And what's weird is that Stephen has his own apartment, and he has a job, and a mother, apparently. And it's not clear if she's real, or if he just thinks he's talking to her on the phone. Because there's 2 phone calls. The first one, he's leaving a message, and the second one, he seems to be talking to her, but maybe she's just in his head. We don't know. Not sure what's going on there. But there are things a person needs in order to acquire stuff like these. Like, there's like insurance and a social security number. If you have a job, you need stuff like that. If you want to lease an apartment, they're going to be running background checks on you, to see if you're, if they can like allow you to rent the place. But how would Stephen have those things if he's just a split personality? So now I'm wondering, in this version of Moon Knight, is Stephen Grant the real person while Mark Spector is the split personality? Or is there more to this? Because if that's not what's going on here, then I don't know how Stephen would have all these things. Now, I guess Mark is resourceful, so maybe he could have set Stephen up with everything he needs to kind of function in society. He could like give him falsified documents and stuff, but that would mean that Mark is aware of Stephen while Stephen is not aware of Mark, and how does that work? So there's a lot of unanswered questions here, but that's not because of bad writing. It's all by design. We're supposed to be asking these questions, so that's good. Oscar Isaac was terrific in this. The English accent I thought was pretty respectable. I've definitely heard a lot worse. He shows a ton of range here. He's sort of like this jittery, put-upon guy that could easily be played over the top, but he makes it work. And it's crazy because, like, the 3 big roles I know him from are Poe Dameron, Duke Leto, and now this. And each character feels like a totally different person. Oscar Isaac has got some serious acting chops. Especially in the final scene where he's basically playing Stephen and Mark at the same time in the same shot. And again, that all had to be perfectly timed out. So that was some really great stuff. The comedy all worked. The car chase was especially funny, also exciting, and we're on Oscar Isaac the whole time. Like, he's carrying all of it. He's interacting with the guys chasing him. He's fighting off the guy in the truck. He's interacting with the voice in his head. It's just, we're on him the entire time. And it all works. It's really impressive stuff. So I felt like very forgiving of that bit of weirdness where they somehow beat the falling logs down the mountain because everything else was just so good. The stuff that's supposed to be creepy is creepy. I do think the shots of Khonshu were a little too CG heavy. I would have preferred they do those with like a practical model. I think that would have looked better. But, you know, all the stuff with Steven, where Steven is talking to Mark, was fantastic because there's no CG there. Again, it's just all Oscar Isaac interacting with himself. And, you know, both characters feel totally different and distinct. He's playing both of them at the same time in the same shot, and it all works because he's just nailing the performance so well. And it's a really interesting writing choice here because, like where the story begins, he's already Moon Knight. So we're kind of skipping over the origin, or we're going to tell the origin as we go along. But he's already become Moon Knight, he just doesn't know it because for some reason the Stephen Grant persona is in control most of the time. But, like, why is that? You'd think it would be Mark who would be at the steering wheel more often than not. Unless something happened to Mark to make it so that he's not the dominant persona anymore. But what could have happened? Maybe it all has to do with him becoming Moon Knight. Maybe when he became Khonshu's avatar, like, that's what fractured his psyche in the first place. That's what caused him to develop this DID affliction. And that's what caused Mark to retreat into his own mind somehow, which led to the creation of Steven. I don't know. But, I mean, there's a lot that could go into this, but, you know, and there's a lot of fun things to explore about this. I don't really know what to make of Ethan Hawke's character yet. We don't have a whole lot to go on. He's clearly got, you know, some kind of abilities that haven't really been defined yet. So either he's already the avatar of Ahmed, or Ahmed is imbuing him with some sort of with some sort of supernatural abilities. I don't know. Either he's already the avatar for Ahmed, or he's going to become one. He was good for what he had here. I want to see a little bit more of him, but he's doing his thing so far. He's pretty creepy. And that's about it. I mean, there's only 2 major characters right now. I guess we're going to meet Layla in the next episode, presumably. But right now it's just Mark and just Steven and Arthur. And also Mark. So that would, I guess, would technically count as 3. You know, it's just been 1 episode. I already feel like I know Steven pretty well. So maybe the next episode will focus on Mark, and maybe the one after that will focus on Mr. Knight. Like, that could be something. That could be a really crazy storytelling mechanism if each episode is focusing on a different persona in Mark Spector's head. So each one is kind of at the steering wheel, like in every episode, so each time it's different. That's... wow. I mean, who knows, but this could be one hell of an acting showcase if Oscar Isaac pulls it off like he's doing so far. There's a lot to unpack still. We don't have the whole picture yet, but this was a pretty great first episode. Like, if the next 5 episodes are as good as this one, this could be the best Marvel Disney Plus series so far. I really like this. I can't wait for episode 2, which I believe is dropping at about 3 a.m. So, just a couple hours away, actually. Excuse me. What is it, about 10 o'clock right now? So, yeah, in a little over 5 hours, I think. And I will most likely be wide awake when that happens, because my body clock is fucked up. Okay, let's see what you guys are saying. Let me click over here. And, all right. All right, Bear Business 1 with a $25 super chat. Thank you very much. Keep up the great work. Well, that's the plan. That's the plan. I'm going to keep doing my thing here. Got to make rent, you know. Thank you very much. That's a big super chat. Wow, it's very generous. Let's see, multi-topic talk with 2 units of I don't know what currency that is, but thank you very much. I gotta go. Just wanted to support before you leave. Oh, okay. Don't know if you're still here or if you left already, but thank you. CA. What currency is that? Is that Canadian? I don't know. I'm terrible with that stuff. Let's see. Wolf in Christ with the $2 super chat. What do you think of Moon Knight's uniform? It's a little different. I'm undecided right now. I think they're definitely going for like an Egyptian motif, where like the bandages wrap around him, kind of like a mummy. It's different from the comics. I think in the comics it's just a costume that he puts on. I like the effect where the bandages wrap around him, so that's neat. I like the glowing eyes. It's a departure. I like it so far. We only get one shot of it here. But it's cool. I think it's gonna grow on me. Not too sure about it yet. I'd like to see a little bit more, but I like it so far. Wow, Yellow Lantern with another big super chat, $20. Thank you very much. Just thought you might like a reminder that the Bat Broad has still yet to be renewed. Yes, yeah, I know about that. I think the the Batwoman Writers Room, I posted in the community tab about this. The Batwoman Writers Room posted something on their Twitter account where I guess there was some kind of fan thing, or like some people on Twitter, because Batwoman still has some fans on Twitter. Apparently that's where all the fans are. Tried to organize this trending topic of like renew Batwoman, and I don't know if it became a trending topic, but they were trying to make it one. And wow, where are these people coming from? It's like all the fans they have left are on Twitter. Because Batwoman does trend on Twitter pretty regularly. Like, I think just about every week you see it trending. But then the ratings come out and they're complete shit. So they seem to be playing to an audience that is almost exclusively on Twitter and Tumblr, I guess. And it's like the fans are nowhere else. You know what? I think where is this? Oh, I don't know. I put it in the community tab. Just roasted them on that, and the comments in that post, the comments in that tweets the writers were made were just absolutely eviscerating them. It was so much fun. I was just sitting back and like eating popcorn, like that Big E. Like that Big E gif from WWE, just eating popcorn and just loving it. Because, oh god, these people must be so desperate. Because, I mean, how the hell are they going to find a new gig after Batwoman? Like, the show was so awful. I mean, ironically, several of them are working on the Gotham Knights project now. I mean, that's even more baffling. Like, you spent 3 seasons running Batwoman into the fucking ground. It's been hemorrhaging viewers since day one, and so you picked those exact same people and put them on a similar Batman-themed project? I mean, what the hell do they think is going to happen with that? Why? Batwoman has been an absolute failure that somehow the network just kept renewing until the ratings became so laughable that its future is finally in question after 3 seasons of just shitting the bed ratings-wise. Now you're going to take those same people and put them on a similar project? I mean, does the CW know what the definition of insanity is? Do they need somebody to explain it to them? I mean, good lord. What is the... I mean, given the results they've had with Batwoman, I think it would behoove them to go in a new direction with some new people. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay, what else are you guys saying here? Going back up to the top before a whole bunch of new comments get posted all at once. Did you watch WrestleMania? You know, I have not seen WrestleMania yet. I was working. Yeah, I was working on the Morbius review at that time. It takes me like so damn long to make a video. So I wanted to get that done first. I want to try to watch WrestleMania at some now that I have a little bit of free time. But you know, Sonic. I think Sonic the Hedgehog 2 comes out either Wednesday or Thursday. So that's the next one. I was making the thumbnail for that last night. So that'll be the next video. And I don't know, maybe I can watch WrestleMania either before or after that. Yeah, but I'm up to speed on it. I know what happens, but I mean the card just looked like your average episode of Raw or SmackDown, so I wasn't exactly excited about it. I understand that night 1 was actually pretty good. That's what I heard. Night 2, not as much. So if night 1 was good, was better than expected, that's nice. But you know, it's all in the follow-up, and Raw was as boring as usual. Nothing really happened outside of the Cody promo. And then they make you wait 3 hours to see if Roman Reigns is going to show up and say something that'll you know, provide a good cliffhanger. Maybe The Rock will show up, who knows. And then he finally, at the very end of the show, he does his 6-hour entrance to say, I'm awesome, the Bloodline is awesome, watch SmackDown on Friday night. Oh, wow, we waited 3 hours for that. Wow, thanks a lot, Roman. Waste of time. Have you been keeping up with Young Justice Season 4? I have. I don't think the second half of Season 4 has started... I think it's been a minute since there was a new episode. So I don't think Season 4 Part 2 was out yet. But yeah, I'm up to speed on it. What are your thoughts, and would you consider doing a review at the end of the season? Yeah, maybe. My thoughts? I like it. I think this season has gotten a little too self-indulgent on the producer's part. We haven't sacrificed the action-adventure aspect of it, because that's not right, but it is getting weirdly focused on, like, character-centric stories that don't feel like they're a great fit for a show like this. Example, Beast Boy. You know, he's obviously been very affected by Superboy's death, or supposed death. And he has this arc where he's gotten depressed about it. He's struggling with depression. You know, he doesn't feel like doing anything. He has no energy. He kind of gets himself kicked off his own show. He doesn't want to go on missions. And you know, he's just in this huge funk. And, you know, for anyone who's struggled with depression, you know, I've been through that, so I know how it is. And it's not that it's poorly done, it's just not what I watch a show like this for, you know? You know, I kind of want to see Beast Boy, you know, turning into, you know, other animals and dinosaurs and fighting supervillains and stuff. And no, it's just an arc about him struggling with depression. And it's like, well, again, it's not badly done. It's just it's just something that feels weirdly out of place on a show like this. And also there's another one with Cheshire. again, she's struggling with the whole business with Leanne, and she wants to be there for her daughter, but she thinks she can't because she's no good for her because she's too much like her father because of all the the mental trauma and abuse that she went through as a child with having a father that's a supervillain. So she's trying to come to grips with that and get her head straight. So I guess she's like going to therapy with on Ra's al Ghul's island now, and again, it's not badly done, but it's like, well, now we're talking about psychological trauma and PTSD and things, and when the show started, it was a show about superheroes having superhero adventures. It's like, well, I don't want to say we've gotten off the beaten path here, but I don't know, I feel like the show is turning into something else. And there was always the sense that the show was getting a little bit more mature every season because the characters are aging along with it. So, they're a little bit older every year, and every year there's a time jump, and now they're having like more adult storylines and stuff. And I thought in season 3, Outsiders, they really got a good balance there of like mature storytelling and action adventure, and it was really good. Now I feel like we've gotten a little too far in that direction. So this feels like I remember an article I read. This was like years ago about like when the Harry Potter books were still coming out. And this person was talking about how their kid was a huge fan of the earlier books, but the kid got impatient with book 4 and finally lost interest in book 5 because the books were getting like progressively more mature, and they were also getting bigger. And so, but the kid was like too young to really appreciate what the series was doing, so finally lost interest in Order of the Phoenix and didn't finish it. It kind of feels like it's a situation like that, where the series is trying to do some more mature storytelling, but it's running the risk of alienating the audience it already had, if that makes any sense. So I'm still watching. It's still a really good show. I'm going to continue watching it. It's just, I don't know. I feel like maybe it's time we get back to basics a little bit, You're my favorite review YouTuber and deserve more recognition. Oh, thank you very much. Let's see. Is Steven an Egyptologist or is it just a hobby? I don't think I hear either way. My reading on it is that it was just a hobby. Yeah, because there was that scene where he was trying to keep himself awake and he had this big stack of books and he was reading a lot about Egyptian type stuff. Yeah, my reading is that it was just a hobby. Do you live in California? No, I'm on the East Coast. East Coast, Beast Coast. So when new stuff drops on Netflix, we always have to wait until 3 a.m. I almost forgot about tonight. YouTube, for some reason, failed to notify me. Now, they didn't fail to notify me. They didn't fail to notify you. They failed to allow me to schedule the streams in advance. For some reason, that function is not working for me. I don't know why. So I can't schedule a stream. I have to just start it on, whenever I start it. So that's why a scheduled start time for these things every week would be helpful, so people know when the streams are going to start. So if I can establish a set time for these things, that's probably when I'm going to keep doing them. So I don't know if we'll continue doing them at Tuesdays at 9, but that's a time that works for me right now, so we might just stick with that. Let's see. I like the actor. I think he got a bad rap in the crap Star Wars films. I don't think he got a bad rap. I mean, the movies did him no favors, but I mean, Oscar Isaac is pretty much the only member of the only cast member in the Star Wars sequels who's landed on his feet. Like he's just kept right on going. Like Daisy Ridley, John Boyega. I mean, I guess they've been in a couple things, but I mean, Oscar Isaac is the one guy who is probably doing better than he was before. You know, he's been in Dune, and that movie was incredible. And now he's in this, and he's just kicking ass as Moon Knight. And apparently he's going to be Solid Snake when they get around to making the Metal Gear movie. I guess he was already cast in that. So he's got a lot of big things because he was the one guy who managed to escape the vortex of the suck of the Disney trilogy. Let's see. There were too many scenes where they don't want to show any action. No, I don't think they want it. It's not that they didn't want to show it. I think they were just using it to illustrate the split personality because they've got to communicate that somehow. And the whole point is not that they're not showing the action. I think the point is that Steven has no idea what's going on because he's not privy to the action. Now, you never know. I mean, in the next episode, they might show flashbacks to what happened when he blacked out and Mark took over, and we find out what happens during that time. We don't really know yet. It's not that they don't want to show the action. It's all a storytelling device. Agreed, it seems like they were trying to show a lot of action without filming it, maybe to save the budget. No, I don't think so. No. Now, these Marvel shows have big budgets. They have they have the budget of a film, like stretched out over like 5 episodes. But I mean, these things are not lacking for money. That's not it. This is a storytelling device. All right. Let's see. Episode 1 was much better than expected. Well, I was kind of expecting it to be good. I mean, I liked all the advertising stuff. Looked like a really interesting show, and they haven't gotten political with it yet, which is pretty cool. I think Grace Randolph was really raving about episode 1 too, and she's seen like most of the episodes. Let's see. I'm coming in late. Is Moon Knight good or bad so far? First episode in, I'm really enjoying it, so I'd say it's very good. Visuals are pretty awesome so far. Yeah. Weirdly enough, the actual CG was, I mean, it was fine. I wouldn't say it blew me away or anything. Like I said, I wish they'd done it with practical models, but like the really simple stuff that's all done with like editing and camera trickery, like with the scene in the bathroom with all the different reflections, that was like the really mind-blowing stuff. So the stuff that would require a lot of CG and time and money, that was like the lesser impressive stuff to me. But just the simple stuff that's all done with like on set with camera tricks and editing and weird stuff, that was the stuff that I thought was really blew my mind. It really goes to show how wasted Oscar Isaac was in the Star Wars fanfic movies. Oh yeah, I mean he was still good in those movies. I mean you could tell he's a really accomplished actor. and he's got a ton of charisma. It's just those movies really weren't playing to anyone's strengths. I would say he elevated the stuff he was in. No thanks to the script or like the writing or anything. You could always tell that he was a good actor. And you can still act well in a bad movie, which is what he ended up doing. Watching live from Ballarat, Victoria in Australia. Wow. Unlimited or global. Thorias rocks. Nothing funnier than his Batwoman reviews. I'm always amazed that people gravitated toward the Batwoman reviews so much. I mean, I intended to just review the first episode, never expected it to take off like that, and now it's what they're what most people know me for, like that in the Supergirl videos, I guess. But I don't know how I became the Batwoman guy. You know, it's so strange. Like I'm not sure what I do. What I did with those videos that I don't do with the others. I don't know. It's just something about Batwoman that just gets the juices flowing, I guess. Let's see. Isn't the Steven persona supposed to be rich? Why did they change that? I believe in the comics he is rich. I couldn't tell you why they changed it. I guess because they wanted Steven to be more of an underdog. And, again, in the comics, I think he's rich, and that's how he pays for all of Moon Knight's gadgets and, maybe his vehicles, if he has a vehicle. I don't know. But he pays for all the stuff that allows him to be a superhero. But in this version, I guess the suit and the gadgets are going to be magical or imbued upon him by Khonshu. So it's not really necessary that Steven is rich. And again, I think they wanted to do that dichotomy of having the badass mercenary Mark Spector being the other side, and the other side of the coin being this meek guy who like can't stand up for himself and doesn't know what's going on. So they wanted to do like the badass and the underdog being two sides of the same character. And Steven becomes less of an underdog, or more of an underdog if he doesn't have a lot of resources. If you give him loads of money, then he can afford like bodyguards and stuff to protect him from the demon dog and whatnot. So I think for the story, it seems to work better this way. How would you rank all the Disney Plus MCU shows so far, besides Moon Knight since it first started? Oh boy. Alright, well, for me, Hawkeye was the most entertaining. That's probably my favorite so far. I know a lot of people probably disagree with me on that. I just thought that was, it was like charmingly old school at a time when I was in the mood for something charmingly old school. It kind of felt like something out of like an 80s action Christmas movie. I kind of like in the same vein of a Lethal Weapon or a Die Hard. And all these other projects that Marvel was doing were getting all cosmic and mystical and doing the multiverse and going to other universes and galaxies and fighting gods and whatnot. And here it's just a good old-fashioned crime story beat-em-up. And that's exactly what I was in the mood for. So I liked Hawkeye the best. After that, I'd probably be Loki, Again, I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me on that. I really enjoyed Loki up until the last episode, which I still liked, but I thought was a bad creative choice because even though I enjoyed it personally, I know a lot of people probably would not. So it was just not a wise decision to do it like that. But I liked Loki a lot just because I enjoyed a lot of the concepts and ideas they were playing around with. Oh God, what else was there? Okay, Falcon Winter Soldier, there were some good things about Falcon Winter Soldier, and there was that awesome standout sequence in the canyon. It got annoyingly political with a lot of the messaging, and then there was that "You've Got to Do Better, Senator." That's people are going to be memeing a lot. Critical Drinker likes to break that one out in a lot of his videos. Yeah, towards the end, it's like, wow. I'm not saying they lost the plot, but the politics kind of took over, and also there was that subplot about the boat. And we gotta fix the boat. We gotta get a loan to fix the boat. We gotta sell the boat. Everything, all this stuff about the boat. What is so important about the boat? And then they never even resolved what happened with the boat. Like, did they sell the boat? Did they fix the boat? I don't know. I don't know what happened to the fucking boat. I don't know why the boat was so important, but it was. And then they just didn't resolve any of the stuff with the stupid boat. Ugh, wow. WandaVision. WandaVision had a really interesting concept and some really interesting ideas, and I appreciated the craftsmanship of it a lot. How they were aping the style of these old school sitcoms and all these different eras, and how that was born out of Wanda's damaged psyche, and it was a kind of therapy for her. She was kind of retreating into it to something comforting to her, because that was how that's kind of what she did when she was a kid. She would watch all these American sitcoms, and it kind of took her mind off the war going on around her and stuff like that. And it was all like, how she avoided dealing with the turmoil in her own mind. And I thought that was really interesting. But again, it got political towards the end, where it's like, oh, they'll never know what you gave up for them. Never know what you gave up for them. I mean, you've been you've been mentally enslaving and torturing this entire town full of people. Okay, yeah, I know Wanda's had a tough time, but she's victimized this entire town. I mean, are we supposed to forget about that just because she herself has been through a lot? I mean, yeah, I sympathize with what Wanda's been through. It doesn't give her the right to take all these people prisoner and put them in this mental torture chamber, as it were. Yeah, like the morals in that got kind of fucked up. But again, hey, Agatha was pretty awesome, and it was Agatha all along song eventually, kind of took over pop culture for a couple weeks there. So that had some good points. The pacing, I wish had been faster. But there were some good things in there. So I'd say WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier were definitely the most flawed. So I would put Hawkeye first, and I'm sure people are going to disagree with me on this. Excuse me. For me, Hawkeye was the best, followed by Loki, and then I don't know, Falcon Winter Soldier and WandaVision are both tied for last place. Unless we're counting What If also, and I would probably put What If at the absolute bottom right now, because I thought the writing on What If was pretty crap. And the jury is still out on Moon Knight until we see more. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, there's some stuff in there I am not going to repeat because someone's spamming me. Get them out of the chat. Get them out of the fucking chat. I am not going to repeat that. Where am I? Whole bunch of new stuff just posted all at once. I'm concerned this show will jump the rail near the end. I did like that there was actual blood in this, and Oscar Isaac is a brilliant actor. Really carries the series. Yeah, I mean, there's no signs of it jumping the rail yet. Had a really great first episode. I mean, there's not much we can tell from one episode, but I mean, so far so good, right? Episode 2 might be the last I watch. Nothing against Moon Knight. The character in theory seems cool AF, but I can't stand the dumb, coward, timid character. Never could. Well, I think focusing on him right off the bat was kind of the point. Because he doesn't know what's going on, so it makes it's a more interesting way to do this, to focus on the character who is timid, because it makes the stuff that he's facing seem more, how do I say this? It makes it seem like he's got a bigger mountain to climb. Like if we were on Mark Spector, who's the badass mercenary who knows what's going on and knows how to deal with all this stuff, then it's less of a compelling journey, I guess. And I don't think we're going to be focusing on the Stephen Grant character all the time. I mean, we can't. I mean, there's several other personalities in his head. There's Mark Spector, who I expect will take over, if not in episode 2, then very soon. And there's also the Mr. Knight character. And I don't think we're going to be on Stephen Grant most of the time. I think there's probably going to be an even split between all the different personas. I mean, this is just one of them. Okay. All right. Especially since Superboy is probably not dead. Yeah, we don't know what happened to him. I guess there was a tease that he might be in the Phantom Zone, possibly. Which, I mean, if the twist is that he's actually in the Phantom Zone and they bring Superboy back, it kind of negates this whole arc with Beast Boy. So, which meant we're spending a lot of time on him being depressed for, I mean, not for nothing, but, I mean, you take away the reason for him getting depressed, it's kind of like, well, why did we do all this, you know? 100% agree. Young Justice just doesn't feel like a superhero show as much anymore. Yeah, I mean, there's still superhero stuff, but wow, I mean, it's become very, I don't know, character-centric. I mean, the first few episodes are about, Superboy and Miss Martian are planning their wedding on Mars. I mean, I figured something bad was going to happen, because, I mean, you don't do all that build-up for nothing, but wow, it's several episodes of them being excited and about the wedding, and about how they can't wait to get married, and like, what? Can somebody just punch a bad guy? You know? I mean, keep in mind what we're watching this show for. I know you're telling a story here, but wow, I mean, superheroics are a part of this too, you know? Let's see. Green Entertainment with a $5 super chat. Thank you. What's your favorite comic you've ever read? Like my favorite single issue, you mean? Oh God. I don't know if I could pick a single issue. Favorite series? There's a bunch of them. I really love the original run of the New Warriors back in the '90s. That was a great one. I think Fabian Nicieza wrote that. That's one of my all-time favorites. I really love the X-Men at that time. Oh boy. I don't know, the Amazing Spider-Man. Again, this is all the stuff I think mostly in the '90s. Back when Mark Bagley was at his in the middle of that run he had on Amazing Spider-Man, best Spider-Man artist ever, bar none. I mean, he's up there with John Romita. He's Mark Bagley is, uh, and there were some real classics in there. Wow, I don't know if I could pick just one issue. I think the Dark Phoenix saga is something pretty close. Is something that always really stayed with me. Mostly because that's how I kind of got into the X Men in the comics. Because I went to summer camp one year, and I didn't really want to go, but I wanted to bring something to read in case I got bored. So I got the trade paperback of Dark Phoenix, and that was kind of my introduction to the X Men. So I was there for like 2 weeks, and I spent the whole time just in my bunk reading Dark Phoenix because otherwise I didn't really enjoy myself at summer camp. Yeah, so I mean that's a couple of them. I really don't think I could pick a single issue though. Ever read Wheel of Time or watched the god awful TV show? I swear Aragon is a more faithful adaptation of the source material than the Wheel of Time show. I have not read the Wheel of Time books. I tried watching the show. I think I made it to episode 4 or 5, and then I just gave up. Um, I didn't really know what was going on in the first episode. I stuck with it. I mean, around episode 4 or 5, I just started falling asleep. I couldn't get through an episode without falling asleep, so I just gave up. I have not continued watching it. I don't know what the viewership is, and it just seemed like the storytelling was sloppy and the characters were weird, and uh, I don't even know what the hell the Wheel of Time is. I mean, it's what the show is named after. You figure they would have explained that right off the bat, but no, I don't know what's going on in that show. It just did not hold my interest. What did you think of the music choices? I thought they were fine. I thought "Wake Me Up Before You Go Go" was so incredibly awkward for a chase sequence, but that's why it worked. I thought it just added to Steven's utter confusion and franticness to have a song that just didn't fit the situation in any way, and that's actually what made it work. So I thought it was good. What did you find worse, Morbius or the Venom films? Oh, the Venom movies, absolutely. I didn't think Morbius was that bad. It wasn't really terrible. It just wasn't that good. The Venom films I thought were just terrible. And again, I know they've got their fans, but no, I mean I explained everything in my reviews of those movies, but yeah, the Venom films I do not like in any way, shape, or form. I think they're terrible. Absolutely hate those movies. Mark is rich. Steven is his publicly known persona. Oh, okay. Like the Supergirl reviews much better. Okay, well, no offense taken. I mean, I make those and the Batwoman reviews as well. Problem with the Supergirl reviews is they kept getting claimed because once the copyright bots left me alone as long as no one was watching the channel. But once people started finding it and it took off, then they just descended upon me and started claiming all the Supergirl reviews, just claiming them over and over. And the last one I made, I had to re-edit like 4 or 5 times just to get the claims removed. And like this is ridiculous. I'll be spending weeks making one Supergirl video, and then just putting in all this extra work just to get the claims taken off. And it wasn't practical anymore. Because I was trying to monetize this to make this my main source of income. Because the goal was always to be able to make enough money with the YouTube channel to make this my job. And if I have to spend weeks trying to get one Supergirl video made with no guarantee that I'll be able to monetize it, then it wasn't. I had to make a change. And luckily I've found a style that works for me, and also the risk of my videos getting claimed these days is minimal because of the way I make them now. But yeah, I mean, no, I'm not offended that people like the Supergirl reviews. That's what got my channel noticed. So that makes me feel good. Let's see. Jose Quintana. I hope I got that name right. Sorry if I pronounced it wrong. Thank you. Love your channel. All the unused Marvel characters in their universe. Which one do you think should be chosen as the next film? The characters who haven't had a movie yet? I would go with Daredevil. I'd like to see Charlie Cox get a movie. I mean, if it was made like the Netflix show was, hell yeah, I'd want to see that. Wow. Yeah, what else, I wonder? Oh, the New Warriors. Yeah, but it wouldn't be any like the recent incarnations. Not the one with like Snowflake and Safe Space. Fuck that. I mean like the original '90s roster with Speedball and Firestar and Night Thrasher and Nova and Namorita and all those characters. I mean they couldn't do it now. I mean you'd have to introduce like the Xandari Star Corps and the Atlanteans and all that stuff, and maybe that's coming in the future. So also, I mean, mutants aren't even a thing in the MCU yet, so I mean that's 2 of them right there. I mean, so they couldn't do it now, but at some point, I would geek the fuck out for a New Warriors movie. Let's see. Just lost a lot of comments. A lot of people keep telling me to watch Amazon's Reacher. I've not seen it yet. Actually, a good show, which is based on a series of books that Tom Cruise made 2 movies of it. Yeah, I know about the Tom Cruise movies. Have not actually seen those. Yeah, I've heard good things about Amazon's Reacher. I just haven't had a chance to check it out yet. Have you seen Vox Machina or Hitmonkey? Hitmonkey, is that a thing? I didn't know there was a Hitmonkey show. I have seen The Legend of Vox Machina. It's really, really good. I like it a lot. I was going to try to do a review of it. It just kind of slipped through the cracks. Maybe I'll go back to that one if I haven't if I have a hole in my schedule at some point. But yeah, Legend of Vox Machina, I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. Go check out that show if you haven't seen it. Are you watching Naomi? Wow. Is Naomi even still on? I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen Naomi yet. A lot of people want me to watch that show and review it. Oh wow, I don't know how many episodes they're into now. I didn't cover it at the time because at the time Batwoman was still on, and doing two of those long form videos a week was a little bit too much for me. I mean, I could do, excuse me, I could do it, but it wouldn't leave me the time to cover anything else. And I kind of went through that when I was briefly doing Batwoman and Superman and Lois at the same time. And it's like, well, I want to do movie reviews too, but I just don't have the time to do it if I'm covering both shows. So I kind of made the decision to just do Batwoman, and then that would give me that would free up my schedule so I could do a movie review. I could review like a Netflix movie or a Netflix show or an Amazon show, and so that's kind of why I didn't go near Naomi. Also, I figured Naomi would be done so quickly it wouldn't even be worth it. And I don't know if it's still on, but I know the ratings just dropped off a fucking cliff, and after like 4 episodes, they were already doing Batwoman Season 3 numbers. Yeah, so that show is toast. And if it's doing comparable ratings to Batwoman in Season 3, like Batwoman appears to be on the chopping block, so I cannot imagine Naomi is going anywhere. There was a list of shows that had gotten new season renewals. Batwoman and Naomi were nowhere on that list, so I would not expect Naomi to stick around very long. Let's see. Are you excited about the MCU bringing the X-Men and Fantastic Four, or are you as indifferent as I am about it? No, I'm excited. I'm excited about the X-Men. Less so the Fantastic Four. I've never really been a Fantastic Four guy. And also three really bad movies in a row with the Fantastic Four. So, I mean, the project's going ahead. They've got a director. So, I mean, I expect the MCU Fantastic Four will be better than what's come before. I mean, good God, how could it not be? I'm curious for the Fantastic Four to get a better movie than what they've dealt with up to this point. But yeah, I'm really excited for the X-Men because Fox had the X-Men rights long enough. You know, they made some good X-Men movies. They made some not so good X-Men movies. But yeah, I've always been an X-Men guy. For me, it was X-Men, it was Spider-Man, and the X-Men are my team. So I am excited to see them join the MCU. And there's so many stories and so many characters. They could make several phases of like nothing but X-Men content. And there's so many stories they could adapt. And there's so much stuff the Fox movies never even touched. Like, all the Fox movies, we've never really gotten a proper Sentinel story. I mean, they were in Days of Future Past, kind of, but we never had a movie where the Sentinels were the primary bad guy. And we've never seen Mr. Sinister, or the Marauders, or or the Nasty Boys, or the Phalanx, or anything. It was Magneto. It was, I don't know. I think there was the Hellfire Club that were in there for one movie, and it was Magneto and Magneto again, and there's Wolverine. It's just there's so much stuff the Fox movies never even touched. Oh, and they did Dark Phoenix twice, and they botched it both times. Because they had it was the same guy making both movies. Why would you hire the same guy to write the Look, Kevin Feige's no dummy. Look, say what you will about Feige, but he's got a hell of a lot more successes on his resume than failures. Okay, yeah, Phase 4 has been spotty. I will say that. I will agree with that. But, the X-Men are one of the biggest properties Marvel has. That's like, outside of Spider-Man, like, that's their big one. I mean, the Avengers kind of took off with, when the movies started and all that stuff. But before then, it was the X-Men. They were the top. And now they've got the rights to the X-Men back. Feige's Feige's gonna do everything in his power to not fuck this up. Now the X-Men are gonna get their due, and they're gonna be awesome again. Are you watching Sonic 2? Yeah. Really like the first one. I think Sonic 2 comes out, on Wednesday or Thursday? Yeah, I'm watching it. I'm gonna review it. I already made the thumbnail for it. And Daredevil had a movie, remember, with Ben Affleck. It was actually pretty good. Yeah, Daredevil did have a movie. Honestly, I didn't think that the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie was terrible. It wasn't good, but I don't know. There were some things about it I kind of liked back in the day. I understand why people didn't like it. I'm not making excuses for it, but I thought it could have been a lot worse. Would you want the reality show part of it? No, not that part. I think. I guess you're talking about that arc where the New Warriors were on a reality show, and I guess that led into Civil War, where they were filming the reality show, and they happened upon Nitro and his gang, and the Nitro blew up and killed a bunch of people. No, not that. Never liked that story. I didn't even read the reality show thing. No, I'm talking about the original run back in the 90s. I think Fabian Nicieza wrote it. That whole run. I forget how many issues it was before they changed creative teams, but I love the original run. That's one of my favorite runs on a comic ever. Thunderbolts, yeah, that could be a cool movie. I'm sure they'll make that at some point. And they have an opportunity with Thunderbolts to do what DC completely dropped the ball on with Suicide Squad, which is introduce these villains in like separate movies over time. Like introduce like a one villain here, and they kind of already did it. They introduced Ghost in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I think she might be coming back in the third one. So that character is around. And she could be a Thunderbolt, and you could introduce what the hell Beetle or Screaming Mimi, and maybe Beetle could show up in Armor Wars or something. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but you could do Screaming Mimi in some other movie, and And what the fuck's his name? Zemo. I mean, Zemo's been around for a while now. He showed up in Civil War, Falcon Winter Soldier. You could bring him back, and put the Citizen V costume on him. Get all those disparate villains together. I mean, that's a cool fucking story you could do with that. I mean, you've already introduced a couple of them. Just bring them in, have them play like minor roles in this movie or that movie, and then you bring them all together for their own movie. That could be a cool thing to do. I mean, some of the groundwork is already there. Thunderbolts could be a really cool movie. Ms. Marvel will be the MCU Batwoman. Agree? All signs are pointing in that direction. I mean, I don't want to say too much, because we haven't seen the show yet. I mean, you never know how it could turn out, but yeah, that sure is what it looks like. I mean, there were tons of red flags when that original teaser came out, and the whole thing was like, look how not white our main character is, look how not white our directors are. Wow, red flags all over the place. Then the trailer comes out a little while ago. Wow, the trailer reaction on that one got a lot of views. I think it was something like 13,000. What was it? No, yeah, 14,000 views on that trailer reaction. So yeah, I will definitely be covering Ms. Marvel, and I don't know. I'll make a decision on that later, but I think Ms. Marvel is going to be getting the Batwoman treatment. Now, I don't think I'll be streaming that one. That is getting the long-form episodic Batwoman treatment. So, yeah, that's what I'm feeling like right now. Because I feel like there's going to be a lot to go over with Ms. Marvel. Yeah, so get excited for that. What would your reaction be if Batwoman got a season 4? Oh, Lord. I might have to break out that clip of my legs dangling in the screen with me hanging from above the... Yeah, I don't know. Might have to bring that one back. I don't know. I don't know. I think time's up for Batwoman, honestly. I mean, I don't want to jinx it or anything, but it could still get renewed, I guess, but it's not looking good for them. I think the writing is on the wall for those guys. Naomi was DOA, and thing is, she's only had one limited series from 2018, so it's not like she had some long history. I know, right? I mean, I don't know if she's shown up in other titles, but I mean, she had like what 5 issues of a comic? Like 4 years ago? And they do a TV show based on that? Like why? What was there? I mean, I read like one issue. I kind of flipped through the rest. I didn't buy them. I read them online. But I mean, what is there for you to adapt? I mean, there's nothing. I mean, as I understand it, I mean, she has no character. It's just things happen to her, and everybody loves her. I mean, how do you adapt something like that? I know you've said before that you thought Green Goblin was cartoony in the first Raimi movie. Do you think there were at least some scenes where he felt sinister, like blowing up May's house? You know what bugs me about that scene? It's May kneeling by her bed and praying. Who does that? Like that's something you see in like old like children's stories. Who actually does that in real life? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Don't get me started. I mean, I'm actually I felt like I'd kind of made peace with the Raimi trilogy after Tobey's Spider-Man showed up in No Way Home, and I actually liked him in that movie. So I felt like I was finally in a good place. Now you got me talking about what I don't like about the Raimi movies again. How'd we get here? Fantastic Four with Silver Surfer wasn't so bad. No, it was pretty bad. It was still pretty bad. It just ends with Silver Surfer flying into that big fart cloud and suddenly Galactus is dead. How? How? Made no sense at all. Yeah, Omega Red, yeah, they could do, or the Shi'ar, yeah. Mr. Sinister. Rogue, Rogue has the potential for such a great introduction. If they do the Ms. Marvel story, they introduce her by fucking up Captain Marvel. Rogue could gain a lot of fans really quickly if they do that. Oh boy. Hold on. Whoop. Oh, V-Man with, wow, another big super chat, another $20. Thank you very much. Wow, some really generous super chats tonight. Do you think Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, and other heroes like that wouldn't suffer less consequences from their villains if they just did what Moon Knight and Optimus Prime in his movies did and end them? Well, I don't think Optimus Prime is a good example, because it seems like he kills Megatron in every movie, and then in every movie he comes back. So, yeah, that's probably not a good example. Well, I don't think Moon Knight is a good example either. He just beat the crap out of one demon dog. I mean, who's going to give a crap about if a demon dog dies? That's not like killing a person. And we don't know if any of those villagers are dead either. They might just be unconscious. We don't know yet. That's not a question that's easily answered, because, I mean, would they suffer less consequences? Well, define consequences. I mean, the whole point about heroes like that is that they have morals, and they care about doing the right thing and following the law. I mean, that's Batman's whole moral code. He doesn't kill people because killing people is against the law. And he's all about justice and stuff like that. And Spider-Man, that's one of the main tenets of his character. Spider-Man does not kill people. And Superman, well, he's again part of his character. He doesn't kill people. That's not him. And sometimes that comes back to bite them because villains who they could have killed when they had the chance come back to threaten them again. And could they save themselves a lot of hassle if they just killed these people off? Yeah, potentially, but that's not their decision to make. Because they don't have the right, they don't have the authority to do that. That's up to the law. And these are characters that care about doing what is morally right. If they start killing people, then they're taking the law into their own hands, and they're becoming judge, jury, and executioner, and that's not who these characters are. I mean, you've got other characters who do that. You got the people like the Punisher, or Wolverine kills people all the time, and that's who those characters are. It's not who these people are. And, I mean, it does, present some maybe some frustrating situations. I remember back in the Maximum Carnage arc, back in the 90s, there was one part of it where things had gotten so dark and so bleak that there was a debate between the heroes that they should just put a stop to Carnage once and for all. And I think it was Firestar who had her fire powers have the ability to hurt Carnage because the symbiote was vulnerable to heat. And Venom was said, look, the point is, look, you can hurt Carnage, and the symbiote can reform if you stop, but the point is to not stop. Just keep pouring it on until he's dead, and that would finally end this nightmare. Because, at the time, Carnage was in the middle of this mass murder spree. He gathered all these other villainous characters with him. He had Shriek and Demo Goblin and Carrion and a couple others, and they were just massacring people all over the city. And Venom's like, look, this cannot continue. We have to just bite the bullet and kill this motherfucker. Firestar, you have the power to do that. You can put a stop to this. And it was like, so Firestar goes after Carnage. She blasts him. The symbiote is coming off. It's weakening. And Venom's like, yeah, but pour it on. Kill this sumbitch. And Spider-Man's almost on board with it for a minute. He's debating whether or not, and finally it's like, no, stop. You can't do this. This isn't right. And so she finally stops right before, she does him in. And, because ultimately, that's Spider-Man's moral code. Is he, as far as he's concerned, we don't kill because we're the good guys. We don't have that right. And it's a topic that you could debate forever, because should superheroes kill? Some people could say yes, but that's a slippery slope. If they can kill one person, they could kill another, and the other person, some people would say might not deserve to die. You might think one person deserves to die, but not another. But what gives the superhero the right to decide who lives and who dies? You could just debate that over and over. I mean, if it were up to me personally, I probably would have said, yeah, just kill the guy. I mean, for Christ's sake. I mean, he is an irredeemable, murdering psychopath. There is nothing human in him. Carnage is a monster. The world would be a lot safer and a lot better off without that, piece of crap. If it were up to me, I'd say, yeah, just kill him. And, look how many innocent people would have been saved if they had killed him at that moment. Because how many people has Carnage massacred since then? And since that story, God knows how many. The world would have been a safer place, but that's not for us to decide. Weirdly enough, every time they capture Carnage, I always wonder why he has not been tried for his crimes and just been given the death penalty in a court of law. Like, why would a court of law not sentence Carnage to the death penalty at that point? I don't know. Of course, the short answer is because they want to keep telling Carnage stories, but, I mean, I find it very unusual that there's never been a story about that. Like Carnage just being put on trial for all the countless murders he's committed and being sentenced to death. Like lethal injection or whatever. You might not be able to kill the Carnage symbiote, but you could sure as hell kill Cletus Cassidy. And there's nothing redeemable about that prick. Wow, I kind of went off on a tangent there. I hope I answered your question. Excuse me. Thoughts on the Transformers films? Oi. I kind of liked the first one. It wasn't perfect, but I thought there was enough there that you could see that they were trying to make something cool. So I was kind of forgiving of the first one. I was hoping they could improve upon the good parts in part 2, but after part 2, it just started going downhill really fast. I think I made it to the third one, and after that, I just checked out. It's like these are not getting better. They're getting worse. They're getting worse and worse. I don't know. They kept getting stupider and stupider, and no, I had no desire to keep watching. Something that really bothered me was I don't know why I'm singling this part out, but in the first movie, they had Bone Crusher in the Decepticons. Now, Bone Crusher, in case you didn't know, is one of the Constructicons that form Devastator. Without all the Constructicons, they can't form Devastator, right? You gotta have all of them together. So Bone Crusher in that movie gets killed. I think it was Optimus Prime who killed him. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. But when that happened, I was like, well, why did they do that? They can't form Devastator now in the sequels. I mean, hell, Devastator could be like the big bad of the sequel. Now you can't do Devastator. What the hell? And well, sure enough, in Revenge of the Fallen, they form Devastator. But it's not the Constructicons. It's just some, like a whole bunch of just random robots that come together, form Devastator. He's there for 2 minutes, gets shot at by some naval vessel. They shoot a missile at him. He gets hit one time, and then he just falls apart. And after doing fuck all for like 2 minutes, and that was Devastator. How'd they form Devastator without Bone Crusher? Well, they did it because Michael Bay didn't fucking care. He didn't care about the stories. He didn't care about the Transformers. He has no respect or reverence for any of the lore. So I gave them one more shot. The third movie sucked. So I was like, you know what? I don't need any more of this. These are not good movies. They're only getting worse. They're only getting stupider. I'm out. I don't need to do these anymore. So that was I saw the first 3 and never bothered with the rest. Have you heard any negative feedback on the new Batman film? I hated it and feel very alone in that opinion. Excuse me. The stuff I've heard has been pretty positive. I know there was some trending stuff on Twitter about, restore the Snyderverse. Of course, that trends every couple of weeks, it seems like. Or restore Batfleck or something, because they want to see Batfleck get a solo movie. I'm not there with him. I like the Batman quite a lot. Excuse me. I mean, it wasn't perfect. It had some questionable bits in there, but overall, I liked the movie. I thought it was like the beginning of something that had a lot of potential. And, I liked Ben Affleck as Batman. I didn't like the material he was given. I liked parts of Batman v Superman. Didn't like the whole movie. I thought Justice League was kind of a mess. So you had a good Batman who just didn't have good material in there to work with. But now we have a Batman who does have good material to work with, and it's not Batfleck, but I liked the Batman. I think we're off to something good there. So that's kind of where I'm at. I think most of the negative feedback is people who just can't let the Snyderverse go. And I don't know what the hell they think that's going to accomplish. I mean, you got the Snyder Cut. Congratulations. But the Snyderverse is about to get completely fucking rebooted with the Flash movie that's already in the can. So that's coming. That the whole thing is going to change. So, Batfleck is going away. Henry Cavill's Superman is going away, and they're going to be replaced by these, the woke feminist versions of those characters. Yeah, so they're going to be replaced by Batgirl and Superwoman or something. Or Supergirl. I guess she's going to be... I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with those. Yeah, but there's no stopping that now, so... You can try to restore Batfleck. You can try to get that trending all you want. People can, but it's not going to change anything now. But we got something good with the Batman. Why not just focus on that? She's my favorite girl hero, the only one I like over Wonder Woman. Remember that episode of X-Men 90s show, Rogue and Gladiator, one-on-one was priceless. Okay, the thing about that, I know the scene you're talking about. The thing about that, one problem the X-Men 90s show had was that they were really bad with continuity. I think even they would admit to this. Yeah, the continuity on that show was kind of a mess. And now I could name a million different details, but honestly, Rogue versus Gladiator shouldn't even have been a fight. Because realistically, if they had stuck with continuity, Rogue would not have had a snowball's chance in hell in that fight. Because we'd already seen Gladiator just treat Juggernaut like an absolute punk. Like, Juggernaut punches Gladiator, Gladiator doesn't even feel it, picks up Juggernaut and just flings him like 100 miles like out into the ocean. Okay, that's how powerful Gladiator was supposed to be. Then, later, during Dark Phoenix Saga, when the X-Men are fighting the Imperial Guard, we see Rogue going one-on-one and trading punches with Gladiator. Like, what the fuck? Okay, Rogue isn't even on Juggernaut's power level. How the hell is she going toe-to-toe with Gladiator now? I mean, it was only for like a minute or two. It was only for like one scene, I think. But she shouldn't have even lasted that long. I mean, come on. The whole point of that scene is that the X-Men kind of get their asses kicked. And yeah, that is what ends up happening. I mean, I haven't watched that episode in forever, but I mean, Gladiator ultimately wins. But I mean, Rogue shouldn't even have done as well as she did. Alright, where the hell am I? Here we go. And the first Transformers movie was basically a movie about a kid's first car, which everyone can relate to, that turned out to be an alien robot. Yeah. Like, they had... I mean, they had a core of something pretty decent with the first movie. After that, they kind of lost the plot. You should see the Bumblebee movie at least. Wasn't that written by the writer of Birds of Prey? Ugh. Not a ringing endorsement. Oh, we got someone who's seen Sonic 2 here. Sonic 2 is great. Better than the first one. Got bosses from the game. Level of boss music from the game. A cool surprise for those familiar with the games near the end. Very cool. Cool. How is Idris Elba as the voice of Knuckles? Because, I mean, Idris Elba voicing Knuckles feels weirdly out of place to me. I mean, that voice does not work with the character design at all, in my opinion. I thought somebody like a Jason Momoa might have been better. I mean, Elba just has this such an evil sounding voice. I mean, he was Shere Khan in the Jungle Book, and that's what worked. But I mean, Knuckles is an antagonist here, but I mean, he's still got like the cute cartoony character design. I mean, to hear Idris Elba's voice coming out of that, it feels it doesn't. I don't know, man. It feels really strange. To me, it just feels really out of place. I don't know. I'll wait till I see the movie. Juggernaut episodes were great. Yeah. Again, with the continuity. You know, the first Juggernaut episode in Season 1 of the X-Men animated series, that came right after the Genosha episode. Again, continuity problems. Because they were coming back, they were flying everybody back from Genosha, and Gambit was on the plane with them. Then they come back home, they find the mansion destroyed, and suddenly, they land the plane, and suddenly Gambit's just not there. Why? Where was he? He was supposed to be there. That's bothered me for years. Like, why was he not there? I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of love for the X-Men animated series. I think it's still great to this day, but I think even the writers themselves would agree their continuity was kind of a mess. I think a lot of that was not in their control. A lot of that was like budget-related reasons and stuff, but yeah. Let's see. Will you ever consider watching Into the Spider-Verse? You know, one of my earliest videos that I did was a video about why I'm not seeing Into the Spider-Verse. There's one, the whole multiverse idea, I think, is really annoying and overused, and it's so easily exploitable for cheap commercial purposes. And also, I don't really care about Miles Morales. I've seen like short clips of it online and stuff, but I don't know. I mean, I've never had much of a desire to watch it. I still haven't watched it to this day. I may watch it at some point, but I've never really had much of an urge to. Is there anything else I need to cover here? Thoughts on Peacemaker. I have not seen Peacemaker. No, I have not seen him. Like after what he did after what that character did in Suicide Squad, I was like, well, you just made this guy really hateable. I don't care to see him carrying his own show. So, yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it. I've heard from people. People seem to like it a lot. So if it's a good show, great. I still don't have a desire to watch it. Knuckles' voice worked. Okay, good. Alright. Can you believe the Batwoman writer's room asked the fans for support? Well, I can believe that. I think, well, what they're probably finding out is that there just aren't a lot of fans left because they drove them all away. Yeah, but I mean, I think it definitely showed how desperate they are. Because I think they can feel the walls closing in on them at this point. And they don't really have a lot of options left. They didn't care about making a good show, and now the chickens are coming home to roost. Is there anything else I need to cover? Is my I feel my voice starting to give out here. I think we can probably talk about wrapping this thing up here. Yeah. All right. No, wait. We got another super chat here. V-Man with a $10 super chat. Thank you very much. What are your thoughts on the new characters in Batman comics called the Ghostmaker and the Clown Hunter? Wow. You are asking the wrong guy. Yeah, I've never been a DC guy. Because I mean, a lot of the characters don't really resonate with me, and also the universe has been rebooted so many times. I have no idea what's in continuity and what isn't anymore. So the whole thing is really confusing to me. So I'm not up to speed with all the comics there. I mean, there are a couple of the characters that I like, and I like all the animated stuff. But the comics, I don't read it. So I'm sorry, I can't answer your question, but yeah, the new characters in Batman, Ghostmaker, Clown Hunter. This is honestly the first I'm even hearing of them. So I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for you, but I'm just not up to speed with that stuff. Let's see. Do you watch anime? Yeah. You know, people ask me pretty often to review some anime stuff. I would like to. I haven't had the opportunity. I guess I'm just waiting for one to come along to really grab me. I think that that's the CG Ghost in the Shell series on Netflix is getting a season 2 at some point. I might do that. That could make for a good review. But yeah, I do like anime. I love Ghost in the Shell is one of my all-time favorites. I have most, if not all, the installments of that series. I got the original movie. I've got Standalone Complex, Solid State Society. I've got the new movies. I've got some of the original manga. I've got that too. So I really like Ghost in the Shell a lot. Bubblegum Crisis 2040. That one's one of my all-time favorites. Of course, I've been watching Attack on Titan. Man, they are really dragging out that final season. I thought they were going to finish the season. Now they're postponing it to 2023 or something. It's like, how many episodes are left? Come on, guys. They're really dragging that out. But wow, that one got so. And the manga got so dark on that towards the end there. And it's so tragic and so heartbreaking. It's like, oh God, can we just end it, please, and move on to something a little happier? But yeah, I mean, I would like to talk more about anime. I just I'm not an expert on it. I mean, somebody like a Bennett the Sage would be able to probably be able to analyze anime more. I'd probably just be talking about the story and the characters and whatnot. But yeah, I would like to talk about anime. Just waiting for the opportunity to present itself. Do you ever see yourself getting back into Star Wars again? Who knows? Honestly, I've said this. I've said this in other places. I haven't really watched any Star Wars media since the Rise of Skywalker. I think the only thing I really watched was the scene from Mandalorian where Luke comes back. I watched that scene. Aside from that, haven't really seen anything. Which that kind of hurts me because I love Star Wars so much, but the sequel trilogy it broke something. It broke something in me, and now the thought of going back, I don't know. I can't make myself do it. Which sucks because to this day I haven't seen the final season of Clone Wars. I haven't watched Rebels either. I would like to see those at some point, but every time I think about going back, I don't know. I don't know. I think about how miserable the sequel trilogy made me. How, I think about what it did to Luke. How Kathleen Kennedy is just raping the franchise now, and ugh. I don't know. I don't know if there's any fixing it. Now, I don't know if I'll ever be able to feel the same way about Star Wars again, but I haven't watched any Star Wars content really, and I don't know if that's going to change. Have you reviewed Love, Death, and Robots? It's really, really good. I haven't reviewed Love, Death, and Robots. I've watched Love, Death, and Robots. Yeah, there's some really good ones in there. I like that show a lot. Is it getting a season 3? I don't know. I haven't seen all of them, but I've seen several of them like multiple times. That's a really fun show. I hope it keeps going. Let's. The sequel trilogy broke something in all of us. Yeah. Hold on. We got another one. Loki Gamer 111. Thank you for the $4.99. Watch Clone Wars Season 7, Episodes 9 through 12. Maul was the best Star Wars ever. So good. Please let me know when you finish it. Maul wanted to kill Vader too. Well, I'm glad they got to finish that story. Because when the show ended with one season left to go, I think it ended with Maul having just... Where they left off with Maul, I mean, he had fought Palpatine and lost, and I guess Palpatine had took him prisoner or something. And I always wondered what was going to happen there, how they were going to resolve that. And I guess they did. I know Maul showed up in Rebels later, and they kind of finished his story off. Because I've seen some of Rebels. Because I wanted to check in and see what happened with Darth Maul, because I love Darth Maul. So I'm glad they got to finish that story. So one of these days I'll finish Clone Wars, and I guess I'll watch Rebels too. Even though, Freddie Prinze Jr. was on that show and he made a complete dipshit of himself, with that infamous interview that I will not repeat. I mean, Doomcock already roasted him for that thing, so there's nothing left for me to say. Yeah, I'll watch it one of these days. Yeah, I'm glad the episodes were good. I'm glad they. I hope Darth Maul was done justice. Yeah, I'll watch it one of these sometime. V-Man with another super chat, another $10. Wow, you guys are kicking ass with the super chats tonight. How cool and funny would it be for a Mr. Sinister Chimera creation to turn against him and be a hybrid of Rogue, Hope Summers, and Superman's powers with the skills of Agent 47? Wow. You're getting into some serious multiverse stuff there, dude. Yeah, that would require several multiverse crossovers to make that happen. I don't know. I think that would be a little too out there for my taste. That would definitely make for the craziest what-if story of all time, though. I know, you do you, man. I mean, that's a little too out there for me. Ugh. Why would you need a hybrid of Rogue and Hope Summers? Isn't that kind of redundant? I mean, they both copy powers, sort of. I mean, Rogue steals powers, Hope copies them, but it's the same result, really. Why would you need a hybrid of two of them? Suppose it's fun to think about, though. Is it just me? Like, who wants an X-Men Evolution Season 5? I'd want an X-Men Evolution Season 5. I think Season 5 was supposed to introduce Emma Frost. It's one of the best X-Men characters of all time, is Emma Frost. I'm annoyed they never got to do that. I mean, we got Emma Frost in Wolverine and the X-Men, and she played a big role, but then they only went one season. Then they got canceled for bullshit reasons. Emma Frost is the GOAT. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, she is. And, I think that's a good place to end it. I think we covered everything. Yeah, so, my voice is not feeling so good. So I'm gonna get something to eat. Gonna make some dinner. Try to rest my voice before I gotta do the Sonic 2 review in a couple days. I don't know, is that coming out on Wednesday or Thursday? I think it's Thursday. I think it's like early screenings or something on Wednesday. I don't know, maybe I could find one somewhere, who knows. But wow, thank you to all our super chatters. Multi-topic talk, excuse me. Thank you. Wolf and Christ. Thank you. Yellow Lantern with a $20 super chat. Thank you very much. Green Entertainment. The $5, thank you. Jose Quintana, I hope I got your name right. I'm sorry if I didn't, thank you. V-Man with another $20 super chat. You guys kicked ass with these tonight. Thank you so much. V-Man, thank you for the $10 and for another $10. And also Loki Gamer 111, thank you, $4.99. Thank you guys. Thank all you guys so much. Wow, super chats were nuts tonight. But hey, no pressure. I always say if you want to give a super chat to support the channel, feel free. If not, that's cool too. I always feel a little weird asking for those. Yeah, but hey, no pressure, right? So thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. I don't know if we're going to continue doing these for Moon Knight episodes on Tuesday, but since YouTube will not allow me to schedule these live streams for some reason, I kind of need a regular scheduled time for each one so people know where to find it. So we may end up doing these at Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. We may not. My feeling is that's probably what's going to happen because later in the week is kind of busy because that's when the movies come out, and these things take me so long to make. I'm usually busy writing the videos and then shooting them and then editing them, and that's a several day process right there. So, I mean, Tuesdays just seem to fit really well, even though that's like a week after the episode comes out. I know it's inconvenient for some people, but that's what works for my schedule. Maybe we can change it, I don't know. But my feeling is right now it'll probably stay on Tuesdays. But whenever I decide to do the stream, I'll always put up notices in the community tab and on my Twitter page. So, follow me on Twitter and check the community tab regularly, and that's where you'll see the notice about streams. As per usual, once we wrap this up tonight, this stream will be set to private, and then will be moved to the live streaming channel. And because apparently the algorithm fucks you over if you leave live streams up on your channel, and if they don't get enough views, I mean, you just get I don't know what happens, but apparently the algorithm does not look kindly upon that stuff. So that's how it's got to be. So we're going to set this to private, and then I'll put it up on the live streaming channel. So if you want to listen to the stream again, you can do so on there. The link should be in the... Yeah, the link should be in the description box right now. If not, well, it's Thorias Unlimited live streams. So just search for that. It should come right up. Thanks to all our super chatters. Thank you, everybody who stopped by in the comments section. Except that one person who was spamming me with stuff I'm not going to repeat. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to discuss Moon Knight with me. I look forward to doing it again next week. We're gonna do this for every episode as the new episodes drop. And we've also got movie reviews coming out, and also we got Ms. Marvel in the near future, which again will most likely be getting the Batwoman treatment. So watch out for that. We got some cool stuff coming up. Thanks everybody once again. And I will talk to you soon in the, when we talk about Moon Knight Episode 2. Also, we got the Sonic 2 review coming up in a couple of days, so stay tuned for that. And I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks again.